Okay, Athens Notes Part 4, and this set of notes is going to talk about the Peloponnesian War, a war that breaks out between Athens and its navy and Sparta and its army. So, as you remember from Part 3 notes, a lot of city-states not fans of Athens and its bossiness. City-states start to get really sick of Athens bossing people around, and anti-Athenian feelings start to spread. Now, you might remember from the last set of notes I talked about this, the city-state of Corinth, which is, where am I here? Here's Peloponnesus. Corinth is like right there. The city-state of Corinth has an alliance of all the cities that are on Peloponnesus, including Sparta, because Sparta's always been on Peloponnesus. And it's the Peloponnesian League, and it's like the rival to the Delian League. And remember, the main goal of these people are be ready for Persia, because the Persian threat is still out there. Well, there is a Helot rebellion in Sparta. And Athens sends thousands of troops to help, and I put help in quote marks because is Athens really helping? Or are they trying to show their force? And when the Athenian troops get to Sparta, Sparta is like, what are you doing? And Athens like, so we hear you have a problem, and maybe you could use our military strength. And Sparta is like, get out! And don't ever come back to Peloponnesus again. Well, here's what happens next. There is going to be a huge disagreement between two city-states. Corinth, which is right over here on Peloponnesus, part of the Peloponnesian League, and Megara, which is right over here, part of the Delian League. So here's the situation that happens. They are trade rivals, and they get into a disagreement that leads to war. Basically, what's happening is Corinth and Megara are arguing over trade routes. Megara wants to go past Corinth, and Corinth is like, no, our navy's here, we don't want you here, and it leads to a huge fight. Now, Megara is allied with Athens because they're part of the Delian League. So Athens and Megara attack the city of Corinth, which I remind you is on Peloponnesus. So Corinth goes down to Sparta and says, hey, Sparta, the Athenians are attacking our city. Who knows? Maybe they're coming for you next. And Sparta is like, we told them they ever set foot on Peloponnesus again, this is war, and we meant it. So Sparta is like, this is war, and now we have Greek civil war. We have Athens and its Delian League members against Sparta and the Peloponnesian League members. And it's called the Peloponnesian War. And this is an intense war. It goes on for a long time. Sparta has a plan. They're going to starve out Athens. So they surround the city-state of Athens. But what Sparta doesn't know is Athens have the long walls. So because of this, Athens is able to continue to get supplies. And let me show you. I got some memes to show you, and I want to show you the picture of the long walls again that you saw from last time. So, I feel like the reason it's always delayed is there's like I use a screen recording app. You could see it here, the little red dot, which when I open a picture when I'm recording the screen, it's delayed. So if you're wondering what's going on, that's the story with that. All right, so remember, Athens has that great navy. and Sparta has a great army. So, one of the memes I'll show you is this. Wait for it. You can kind of see it. So yeah, there you see. Now Athens does have a pretty good army, but you don't want to mess with them at sea with their navy. All right, so let's see. My next one. Oh, that was the good one from last time. So here we go. There's the long walls. This is a different kind of picture of it. They also have a wall here. So Sparta surrounds Athens, but Athens is able to keep getting supplies from Piraeus, and Sparta is like, what's going on? Why aren't they surrendering? We're cutting off their city. Now, meanwhile, Athens is fighting the other Peloponnesian League members on the sea. Their army is fighting the Spartans on the land, but Sparta can't get into the city of Athens. Let's see if there was, I feel like there was another meme. There's another long walls thing. Oh, is this our first? Hold on. So I apologize. It was a telemarketer calling, and I tried to put that as part of the recording, and I failed miserably at it. So, oh, that's disappointing. That could have been fun. All right, so let me show you the other. This I like this one. So there we have Sparta. There we have the Peloponnesian War. Here's Athens, because Sparta, of course, is pretty intense. All right, so Athens is able to keep fighting, and this goes on for a really, really, really long time. This is like 30 years of fighting. But then a plague breaks out in Athens. Now, it spreads throughout the city, and it ends up killing between 1/4 and 1/3 of the people there. And if you do the math, so what fraction exactly between 1/4 and 1/3 of the people? That would be 7/24. So that's why you see it there. So it kills 7/24 of the people, or between 1/4 and 1/3 of the people, including Pericles himself. And this plague is pretty harsh. Not to be gross. I hope none of you are eating when you hear this, but I'm going to describe some gross symptoms. Basically, what happens with this kind of plague, you get a horrible rash all over your body, and you basically puke and poop yourself to death. So down goes Pericles by that, situation. And as you can imagine, if you're puking all the time, you can spread the virus pretty easily with your fluids, and the same thing with the poop and all that kind of stuff. So it spreads rapidly throughout the city of Athens. Now, Athens then has to surrender to Sparta. Who knows? If this plague doesn't hit, maybe Athens is able to defeat the Spartans, but it didn't work out. Now, some Athenians are so upset and hate Sparta so much, they cannot face losing, and they move to Ionia, which is Persian land. Some Athenians are like, I'm out. And they move here, and this land is controlled by the Persians, so those Athenians become mercenaries for Persia. A mercenary is a hired soldier. Somebody, I should really put that in parentheses here. Let's change them. Look at this. I'm changing the notes as it goes. There you go. You saw it live. All right. Now, as part of the peace deal, Sparta restores order in Athens and leaves Athens with only a few warships. So they break up the triremes and everything. Just enough to protect themselves, but not enough to be the big naval power they used to be. Now, they decide not to punish Athens severely out of respect for what Athens did in the Persian War. So once again, the war's over. Sparta's like, all right, Athens, don't do this again. We're not going to completely destroy you because respect from the Persian War. I do have another meme that goes with this. You can see it there. Some of the city-states that fought along Sparta were pretty, like, Sparta, what are you doing? We have to punish them. And Sparta's like, nope, not going to happen. Respect from the Persian War. Now, after the war, Greeks start to lose their sense of community. The war went on a really long time. It cost a lot of money. A lot of people died. So people stop putting the polis first. They start to focus more on themselves, and they start to be more concerned about making money than what the polis needs. Now, this, leads to an interesting situation. So there's a city-state near Athens called Thebes, and Thebes makes a deal with Sparta. Basically, Thebes says to Sparta, hey, Sparta, if Athens or any of the other people decide to do anything again, we're going to tell you right away. And Sparta's like, okay, cool. And that's kind of Thebes' role. Thebes is like, you better not try anything or else we're going to tell Sparta kind of thing. But every city-state is so much weaker from the Peloponnesian War than they had been at the start. And it leads to this. There is a king to the north in Macedonia, right up here, and his name is Philip II. And you're going to learn about him not in the next unit. The next unit's Greek culture, but the P2 here, that stands for Philip II. Philip II sweeps down, conquers the city-states. The Greeks do not unite the way they did against the Persians because they just got over a war where they fought each other for so long. Now, you might be thinking, does Philip II conquer Sparta too? No. Here's what happens. Philip sends a message to Sparta and says, if I want to, I will come to Sparta and destroy your city. And Sparta says a one-word reply. If. Meaning, you don't have the guts to do it. Now, Philip's no dummy. He's like, why am I going to try and conquer Sparta? It's just a whole bunch of farmland and a whole bunch of psychopaths. If I leave them alone, they don't care that I'm in charge of the rest of Greece. They just fought all of them. They'll actually probably be happy because they don't have to deal with them and the threat that they'll try and mess with Sparta again. And that's what happens. Now, let's compare Athens and Sparta a little bit. So I'm going to do this by columns. So I'm going to start with the Athens side. So in Athens, the boys studied things like writing, math, and music. They have freedom of speech. They have their government system where they chose the Council of 500 by lot, by random lottery. They have the strong navy. They create democracy. Some of their leaders included Dracosalon, Pisistratus, and Cleisthenes. And they had a constitution, which is that first kind of rules for how government should be. Now I'm going to switch over to the Sparta side. Sparta left unhealthy babies to die, didn't allow farmers or merchants to vote because those are the helots and the perioeci. They used iron rods for money. They refused to change with the times. Boys had to go to the agoge at age 7. Women had some freedoms, but they're like, so they could like go out at night and talk to men, where in Athens that was like strictly forbidden. But again, not anywhere close to the equality that there should have been. But they believed new ideas would weaken their way of life, and they had a strong army. Now, both locations, they both went to war with each other, and They both respected religion, respected the gods. Athens' favorite goddess was Athena. Sparta's favorite goddess was Artemis. Both locations were strategic. Athens was right on the coast because of their ability to trade and travel and their navy. Sparta is inland, isolated, not near anything, because that's how they like it. And of course, they both fought against the Persians in the Persian War. So there you have it. Part 4, Peloponnesian War.